One, nat gas downside today, consumer discretionary downside. That probably has to do with Tesla. They're a big holding in consumer discretionary, XLY. Tesla making a move down now today, but not too many sectors in the red at all today. So you can call up the side thing if it's working. That should still be up as well. Let's go over to the stock heat map quickly to see what was on fire today as we go. Microsoft pretty flat, only down 0.2. We saw Google with a red day today, down 0.09. So that's not overly good for the long-term portfolio. And you guys know I'm all over Google. So that's a bad day. Meta up 1.2%. And then NVDA today. Did it close? It didn't close there. 887, did it? Did we get a nice little rally up there for NVIDIA at the end of the day? Let's just double check that one before we go. But NVIDIA with a nice move today as well. So let me just double check. What did NVIDIA do into the close there? Because I thought we were a little lower than that when I came over here. Oh yeah, okay, so it is a nice little bump up. So there's that move that we were talking about. Look what happened at 3:30. We were down at 877. That might not seem that dramatic for many of you, but honestly, that's a nice pull. From 897 down 20 bucks into 887, and then a nice move into the close. So my bad, NVIDIA still up 3% today. Was AMD still up today as well? AMD 210, up 2.63%. So hey man, these companies continue to win. I want to thank everybody for watching, man. It was another trophy day. We'll raise it around here. Big day for trade. Apple, Target was a big one. Coinbase was a big one. We will talk all about crypto as well. We have Chris Brecher coming, and he wants to talk about ARM. ARM has been a trade that many of us have looked to. Bless you over there, Miss Ramin. Right here, 150 beautiful tops. If we ever get a chance to short ARM at 150 and we don't do it, please send a super chat calling me various names, because up here, we've had a couple opportunities to get this short. 150 has been pretty sweet. If we go over to the daily, that'd be good. Yeah, 150 right there. Nice pullback in. I like the short. We're going to find out why with Chris Brecher very, very soon. For those of you that like the short in a stock, what about SMCI? This name again included. Me and Brendan were doing the podcast, and I remember Brendan was like, Deckers and SMCI to join, and I was like, nah, that makes no sense here. And then it was to join the S&P 500. So when we were talking about SMCI earlier, like during podcast days, you're down here 800, 880, 899 bills. Then this week we get that bump back above 1,000 and starting to go higher and higher and higher. Anything you guys want me to look at here in the chat? Yeah, okay, so it doesn't look like VSCO is out yet. Of course, that's gonna be Victoria's Secret. So that number, we'll flip it over to a 1 minute. Looks like we're starting to head higher here on VSCO. So I'll type it in. I mean, I'm here for you guys. Let's see if we can find a VSCO. Anything out on this, on the Benzinga platform? Nothing yet. So again, we've sort of caught ourselves. I remember when Carvana was out, it was dancing around like crazy. And I was like, Carvana's out, but it wasn't out. Even those of you in the chat were like, Carvana's out, but it wasn't. Or maybe it was, but we didn't have it yet. So I'm going to wait until something happens right there. I feel like for Google, I mean, we could talk more about sectors. That's kind of what we're doing right now. Gold. Look, congratulations to all the gold bugs out there. Let's go bang on that one. We don't have a gold. I'm going to take a sip. We don't have a gold graphic, but look what's been happening here. Let's go over to a weekly chart. And you know what? We talked about Michael Noss today a little bit on the show with SMCI. He's been talking about gold for a minute, and I've been talking about Barrick Gold from the stock side of things. But look at GLD on the weekly, GLW, not Corning, gold. A nice move upside right there. You know what was impressive there today when Adara, I think she's gone now, but she was mentioning when she said S, and Sharif looked around and was like, I have no idea what that symbol was, and then Adara goes Sentinel-1. I was like, what? So shout out to that one right there, and we just mentioned Corning, GLW, old symbol name. But there's a nice breakout on gold. That's starting to work. Is silver working? No. So again, more of a break on gold, nothing really on silver. Silver's still stuck here on the weekly chart as well. I just saw a stock Yext report. I thought it was Yeti. Oh, by the way, should I get one of those Yeti? Let's see, what is Yeti? What? I feel like I'm getting podcast mode here. Those Yeti coolers. I was actually looking at those. Those things are $500, by the way. Ah, shit. Both these youngins over here are telling me to get it. Okay, well, all right. So I'll be getting a Yeti cooler very soon coming through. You know what else we got? Actually, Costco is going to be reporting soon. They have this really great pull wagon that you can get. So High Park, unfortunately, has no parking in High Park, so we got to walk in to High Park, which is a great walk. It's really beautiful. But we have our baseball equipment all the time, so we got that to pull that through. Thinking about a Yeti. Look at Yeti. When does Yeti report? Let me go over here quickly. Yeti reports Feb 15, so it's done by already. There's Dara. I was giving you credit for Sentinel-1. I thought that was very impressive how you knew that symbol. So that was a good one right there. XLF breaking higher again. Do we take something out here in the financial sector? We'll see about XLF. I've really loved JP Morgan and all of that, but XLF really starts to work. We talked about a break of XLF over here, $36, $37. Nice move back up to the upside. FXI has been a good one. I'm still not seeing anything, guys, by the way, on VSCO. So if there is anything on Victoria's Secret, everyone's favorite secret is Victoria's, and that one seems to be moving. I don't know. That was, yeah, it was okay. That was okay. Well, how much out of 10? 3? I'll take it. I'll take a 3 out of 10. You know what I mean? I mean, we've been on air for a minute. Thank you, everybody, for who's here with us right now. Let's do a quick roll call. Why not? Because I'm in a good mood today. We don't have too many earnings going through right now. So who's here with me? Where's Marvell? Who said Marvell was reporting today? I don't think they're reporting not today. But here's Marvell for you tomorrow after the close. Yeah, Marvell ain't today right now unless you're looking for Iron Man right beside me. That was okay. Was that like a 5 out of 10? No, it hurt me. 8 out of 10. I like it. All right, Mr. Kevin Mendoza. Hey, here's my guy. This guy's always saying, Shawn, where's the bangers? Where's the bangers? Target today, $4. AMD, $4. Coinbase, $4. Tesla, $2. Where's the bangers? What's up, Kevin Mendoza, my guy? What's up to Dewey, Anton, Danielle, Jay? Hey, look, man, we have over 3,500 of you watching right now, and I appreciate that. We've got the big man, Chris Brecher, coming through right now. What's up, JJ? VSCO is moving, says Ritz. Well, when Ritz says something, we're going to go have a quick look. So VSCO potentially moving around a little bit. Yeah, it is doing the dance. And this is why we don't report anything until I see something. All the way up, then all the way down. I still don't see it here, but trust me, if it's reporting, I will get it to you. Look, when we're ready, we're going to go to Chris. So you just tell me when we're ready, because I want to talk to this guy. He's got some information on ARM, and it better be good, Chris, coming out there. We'll talk about that. He also wants to talk about Bitcoin. So Ramin, are we ready? Yeah. Then it's Trader Talk. We are ready, and we are ready for you, Mr. Chris Brecher. How's it going, my friend?
Fine. Thanks for having me on a week early.
Have you now recovered from Vegas?
Yeah, I've. Because
I remember last week
some of the people I went with, they still have some just nightmares about
what?
Stuff. But yeah,
okay.
But I wanted to tell you that real quick is I was pretty proud of myself that when we did a roundtable, I did. In fact, I mentioned last week when I was on your show about being really bullish on gold,
right?
Because of the commitment of traders, the commercials were less short than normal. So that was pretty exciting to see gold explode, but now we're out.
Okay, good little indicator there on gold. So are you just joking about that, or that's kind of what you're thinking about when you see more? Because we talk about that all the time on the show, and me and you are going to talk about Bitcoin in a minute, Chris. It's like when you get into that Uber or you start getting friends randomly texting you about Bitcoin, I feel like that might be the top when we get people finally looking into it. Have you ever thought about things like that?
Oh, yeah. When I had my surgery, I had emergency surgery early last year. Every doctor and nurse asked me about Bitcoin, and that was the intermediate top. But I have a better story for you.
Let's go.
I have a friend in Las Vegas. Luckily, he's not listening to this, and he will remain unnamed.
All right.
Who was massively bearish in 2008. Massively bearish. So he sold his house and lived in his car and traded from just outside.
That's wicked.
And then the market crashed.
Right.
He bought a bunch of real estate. But I just talked to him when I was in Las Vegas, and I've talked to him like once a week, and he's massively long Bitcoin. So it's really hard to fade someone like that. And I traded with a prop firm in the 90s, in the 2000s.
I feel like it's tough to talk about people that are massively long Bitcoin or even short Bitcoin's a different story because it's at highs right now. We don't know where these people are long. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where Bitcoin 13 years ago was $1. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm long at 10 grand, I'm going to pump the tires of Bitcoin right now because we're trying to break through 70. I just find it difficult for that. I bought on the dip. You can come over here into iBit. This is the ETF that I'm using, IBIT, just iShares. I tend to like it. It does good volume. And when we crashed in to 60,000 earlier this week, or was it late last week, on
Yes.
some of that Coinbase, and yesterday as well, actually. I've been buying this in and around $34 in that 60,000 range for Bitcoin. So I feel like that's a decent level that could possibly hold 60K or something. What do you have to show us here on Bitcoin?
Well, number one, I have to tell you, my son is a big computer gamer and computer nerd. And so every computer he's had for 10 years that he's not using, I save just in case one day he opens it up and finds Bitcoin. So it just drives me nuts. I'm scared to death to get rid of the computers. But first things first, what I see in here was all about MicroStrategy. That's what I emailed about.
Yep.
Is MicroStrategy doing a secondary yesterday? Even though it's not of a big secondary, a lot of traders got spooked because they thought, well, if MicroStrategy is doing a secondary, they must think that it's stretched or the Bitcoin stretched. So that's why yesterday we were bearish on Bitcoin when MicroStrategy floated that secondary. But just short term. I mean, that's just a short term trade. But I'll show you because it was pretty exciting.
All right.
And I actually posted this on Twitter that when you saw the bear flags in Bitcoin yesterday, just like you're talking about that ETF you're doing on the long side, this ETF you could do on the short side, the BITI, or to buy puts in the BITO when you see defined bear flags.
Why would you, why do you pick these instruments? Like, I see MSTR off the offering. I can understand that, and I think it's like a levered way to play Bitcoin because MSTR just yesterday was $1,000, and you can see today $1,200 again. Is that why we look at MSTR? Like, for me, I just think we have so many Bitcoin. You just talked about BITO, BITI, things like that for Bitcoin. There's so many ETFs right now. Why do we even want to trade MSTR? Don't we have single stock risk there in case Michael Saylor changes his, I don't think he's going to change his opinion on going long Bitcoin, but what if he decides to dump like basically tons of Bitcoin and then sail off on his 5 yachts or whatever and take out of there? Are you not worried about some of that risk with Michael Saylor himself with MicroStrategy?
I just look at, hey, what happens if he splits his stock? I mean, holy cow.
Right, okay.
I'm just looking at it as the perception intraday. That them floating a secondary meant that bear flags are more likely to work yesterday in Bitcoin. So that was just a one-day event.
Chris, give me your opinion on Bitcoin. You talked about your friend being super bullish. What say you at these levels as we approach all-time highs?
That's a great question.
Why, thank you.
I have to see this. I have to see on Bitcoin. I hope you can see my screen.
You can now.
For me to do a swing short in it, I have to be able to draw some kind of trend line on some kind of intermediate term line.
Did you just say you're looking short? Are you looking short? Are you looking short or what? Like, this is what I'm trying to find out. I want to find out from the guests that come on our show what they're thinking about Bitcoin, because if we break north of 70,000, I honestly think, Chris, we could see 100. Like, I feel there's so many people right now thinking that we're double, triple topped up here, somewhere around 68,000. And if we break that, then you're going to start to see a mad run. And when that happens, then I don't know where it's going to go. So I'm not trying to look short, but are you trying to look short?
I'm not looking short till I see, on the floor, we were always like, we're not shorting till we see the whites of their eyes. Is
right.
Basically, you're right. I'm not hearing everybody, in the public talking about it. And I don't see that massive weekly or daily reversal candle. I don't even see an hourly. I mean, except for like a 1 day blip. But we're not getting that kind of trend line development that makes me think that it's a real top.
Right. Okay.
So I'm sorry, I'm not saying I don't want to short it. I want to see that panic like you saw in GME in
Yes. Yes.
2021,
Yes.
followed by the reversal candle.
So we'll wait. We'll wait for a big volume. But Chris, I do have to interrupt you because we have breaking news right now. Bang. That is Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret is now out. This is something that traders have been looking for. Victoria's Secret right now up 11%. Q4 earnings 258 beating 247. Sales is a miss. So they're missing on sales, but we'll figure out what's going on right now with Victoria's Secret. Nice little move upside, hit the $30 mark. If we flip over to a daily chart right now on VSCO, we could see, look at that. Look how good that looks, Chris. Victoria's Secret up to $30. We've seen this high before. It was sort of the drop-off spot back a year ago, man. Back in the May quarter, that's where Victoria's Secret started to dump in. Bottomed out, obviously, as every stock did in October, down there to 14. Victoria's Secret, congratulations if you're in this one. You got a double from the bottom, but you are slightly pulling back now. Look at that. This is why you guys want to be here for the market recap show. We just touched that level of $30. VSCO now pulling back in, man. Victoria's Secret, nice little move. As you can see, negative earnings per share, but coming out right now with a nice little number. EPS of 258 versus 247. VSCO starting to make a little bit of movement. Oh, wow. Now we're starting to go to the downside right now on Victoria's Secret. And here's one little story. I'm going to go back to Chris in a second. This just popped in. Sees Q1. So here we go. Maybe this is the guide. Q1 2024 net sales. There it is, guys. To decrease mid-single dig compared to last year's. So 6 billion versus 6.2 billion. We'll slap a fail, Chris, right now on Victoria's Secret as that's starting to head to the downside. Look, you can't be a growth stock, maybe like Victoria's Secret is, and then miss on sales and guide lower. I thought retail was pretty strong. Looks like Victoria's Secret to the downside. Did you see anything in the options market, or were you looking at this before today? Let's be honest, you probably weren't. But what do you see now on VSCO?
I was wondering if that announcement was a thinly veiled threat. I've been waiting to say that.
Yeah, you have.
I just want to let you know that. But no, all kidding aside, the only thing that isn't going for this stock is it already rallied into earnings as opposed to a lot of the other retailers that had such a low bar. So this is actually, it's tried to have that nice rally into earnings. I mean, it's doubled in since October.
You know what?
So I was just looking at that as one of those just rally, disappointment, not target now, but target into the last earnings, what happened and how the bar was so low and it exploded to the upside. And this one, it just seems like a push to me. So it's sort of rallied into earnings, but it just seems like a non-event. And that's one I really should have done a neutral idea. I looked at the calls and puts, and there just wasn't unusual enough for me to play it.
We nailed that target today, man. We went long at 170.50 here, guys. If you show this in the pre-market, there's my long in the pre-market. Unfortunately, we have all these crazy wicks. We got out at the top of the day there for $4 or $5 winner on target. That was a banger. We were out of that one before 10:45. Good takes early on target. Nice little blast up. But in my opinion, Chris, there's only one retail to rule them all. Well, first of all, I guess there's two of them. You watch Lord of the Rings at all?
Sure.
All right. Well, my ring is this: Costco. Tomorrow, Chris, we got Costco.
Yeah.
Costco has been an absolute monster. I don't even know what to say about this thing. I tweeted something out on my day off on Monday. We went around Costco and we spent. You know what? I just put the card in. I don't even look at it. I'm going to say north of $500, and it just made it look silly. But Costco, straight up fire, reporting tomorrow. This thing never misses, does it? Costco up 17% year to date, and still making moves. I think there's two places to be in if you're going to be in retail. I don't know what happened to my heat maps over here, but I think that there it is. I think there's Costco or there's Amazon. Prove me wrong. I mean, are we buying Abercrombie up here? I like Costco. I like Amazon. You excited for their release tomorrow, Costco?
It's funny. I actually went in there to buy a packet of keto mix for $20 because I wanted to see if I could go out of there not spending less than 200 or $300.
And
So I actually went out of the way just to do something in there. But I'll tell you what's
what kind
interesting
of
about
gloves
this
did you buy?
Pardon me?
Oh, keto mix.
Yeah, it's nuts and all that.
I thought you said like karate gloves or something like that. I was like, what is this guy doing over here?
I don't even know if they
Are you
have
on the
those,
keto diet or what?
pardon me?
Are you doing the
No,
keto?
it's just I just am trying not to buy their cheesecake or their pecan pie. Their pecan pie weighs 20 pounds.
It's
So I figure I should
Costco is
stay
bad.
away from that. But
Costco's bad.
in answer to your question about Costco, which I think you'll find really interesting,
Sure.
is how many times it's sold off prior to earnings
All right.
and then gone up. I mean, prior to earning, I mean, I'm in awe when you look at it. It's had a tremendous amount of sell-offs into earnings, and that was the bottom.
Yeah.
So this is really odd to have what a monster rally into earnings.
Huh.
So the last time really was this one in December. And if you look in December, it opened up on earnings and then sold off.
Okay. What is that green? What is the green line?
I would play a fade on a big rally.
What is that green line that you have there? What kind of SMA is that, or what is that?
Oh, that's the ATR trailing stop. That's
Okay.
something I've used for years and years. I try to go on all the time on the side about basically to keep you out of trouble, a trend following tool like a moving average or like the VWAP.
All right.
And as you see, it's kept you out of trouble from trying to bet on the downside. The only caveat, when it gets this far from the ATR trailing stop, it's usually a big warning sign to not chase it on the upside. That's why I'm talking about shorting rallies in Costco tomorrow.
Chris, I wrote beside your name ARM. And it wasn't because of your arms, it was because of the stock arm. All right? So right now we have ARM, and I didn't want to bury the lead. I know what you're going to talk about. We've talked about it on the show a couple times. Let me ask you the question. Why do you think ARM is a short?
Well, the problem is I think it's a short on March 12th. So we could go to a million different sites, but one of them we've done is marketbeat.com.
Yep.
It's free. It's free. It's not a competitor. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it has IPO lockup periods.
Okay.
So 6 months after an IPO,
Look at
companies
this.
can start dumping the stock.
I like that. Chris, you're dropping us a nice little resource here. I never heard of this website, marketbeat.com. So I see ARM right there, and there it is right there, right in the middle of your screen. Yeah, right there, the 12th. So number of shares, a paltry 95.5 million shares coming out. Obviously, it's now up triple from that price. So what is SoftBank going to do?
Well, first thing is SoftBank came out and said they want to do some other kind of chip venture. Plus, they did the IPO in WeWork and lost like $14 billion.
Exactly.
So you got to think they're going to sell some stock. But it's an art. And the reason is something like Meta might be owned by 1,000 different private equity firms. So the 6-month lockup doesn't mean they have to sell stock. In this case, ARM, they own 90% of ARM.
Right.
So they're probably going to sell. But in the meantime, between now and March 12th, there isn't a lot of stock out there. So it's really hard to position short into them maybe selling. But most of the companies that have had that much stock to sell, they rally into the day of that and then they gap down. So it's a real art. Do you go and do a spread now for the end of next week? Or do you close your eyes and close your eyes and do it? Or do you wait until that exact at the very end of the day on the 11th? So what we did, instead of doing, let's say, a 10 lot of a put spread, we did one. And then we'll reevaluate March 11th.
All right. So I feel like that's the smart way of doing it. You go in there and you get the options right now. get a couple dates out there, and then play it as it is. Because you know what, Chris? I almost think that it could be rug pull time. They don't sell anything. Everybody's waiting for it. People have to cover these puts, and next thing you know, this thing rockets, and they make a couple billion extra dollars because guys like me and you now have to cover, or whoever wrote the puts or whatever winds up happening on that. You could get a little bit of a delta squeeze back up to the upside. We'll see what happens on ARM. All right. Look, we're getting a little bit extended there, but I do want to thank you for hopping on. Thank you so much. You're still on for next week, Chris.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, the more the merrier. Anytime you need me, I try to be able to make a fool of myself as much as possible. So anytime you want me on, please have me on.
Well, we appreciate that, and so does everybody that's watching, over 3,000 of them right now. So thank you so much, Chris Brecher. Have a great evening, and I'll check you next week, and we're going to watch out for that ARM short and Bitcoin. Whatever happens there is going to happen. We're looking for that 70,000 break. Thank you, Mr. Brecher.
And Costco.
And Costco, we love that. Good luck with those Kung Fu gloves. See you guys. Kung Fu gloves. He said keto nuts or something. Like that doesn't, keto what? Mix. I saw someone in the chat and they're like, man, how is this guy hearing Kung Fu gloves? I was just playing around, but I guess that didn't go over that well. But anyways, shout out to Chris, man. Always great stories, and I want to thank him for all of that. So thank you, Chris. You know, it's not just about talking about the market. You got to be a little entertaining at points as well. So thank you for that, Chris. I mean, it's probably why I'm sitting here. Wow, look at Victoria's Secret, man. That just pinged out at 30 bucks. Like, what a great top that was. And again, associated with the breakout of the high. So right there, 30 bucks. We did not break that. And now look, 20 and going lower. It is Victoria. And guess what, Victoria? Your secret's out. And you're going to the downside, down 23%. All right, sticky note review. Let's do that real quick, because you know what? It's my daughter's last game today. So before they have a little bit of a tournament in Brampton, but I got to get there and get going. And as I see this, I do have to log in over here into Twitter. So we'll work on that. Oops, something went wrong. We will not be getting sticky note review today, but we will talk about some of the trades, because the trades that we had on board today, we talked about Target. And the thing about Target was, let me just show this real quick. This is going to be the number 2 P&L stock of the day. The number 1 on the show, I'm not just talking about my account, I'm talking about the show. Number 1 was AMD, number 2 is Target. And the reason why we like Target here, if I can zoom out, you see yesterday they had earnings, then look at this high, 170.50. As soon as we took that, we talked about this. We talked about it when it was at 169. It got upgraded today, and it's a day 2 play taking out the high. We like that trade, so we took it. We took it in the pre-market. I took it with not that many shares, but again, when it goes to the upside, we got to cash it out once, twice, thrice. Good outs there for Target. I'm never going to take a lot of shares in the pre-market. Been burned on that too many times. But right there, Target was a pretty good play. Another one. We did have Palantir. So Palantir is going to look a little bit rough, and then I got to wrap this up. Too many trades on Palantir today, but let me explain to you what we did. So if we could just zoom back out. We had this early when we sat down here at 8 o'clock. That was a good trade, breaking through 25.70, couple good outs. But when it fell back in and failed at the 200, we lost. Then it came back out, failed again at 25. We got crushed there. Okay, but then when it came back out, Palantir was going to be a fine stock after all. We were able to buy that bottom into 24.50. That was a good one, ran that back up. But then once we were here and we could find some of these areas for support, we were able to make some money back, and then eventually we don't have it, but we ticked out 2 52-week highs at the end of the day. So Palantir long was right. It's about execution and time of day. Once we saw it give that level in the afternoon, that's when we should have got more aggressive, not right away in the morning. We learn our lessons. Look, today was a trophy day. I don't have anything around us, so we'll just cheers the water. I hope everybody had a successful day like we did, and we're coming right back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, baby. We're ready to rock and roll, and I will see all of you then. Thank you so much for watching his Trader TV Live. Go follow us everywhere at Trader TV Shawn, at Trader TV Live. It's on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's everywhere. Ciao, and see you tomorrow. I'm coming home.